Welcome to round 3 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of March 30th. I'm Nicole Erdix, and I'm here with Terry Morrow.
Hello.
And Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
We're moms of teens and young adults, and when it comes to parenting, we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But we're still waiting for that day when we'll reach the finish line and have no further need to lay down in a dark room with a wet rag over our eyes worrying about something or other. Wednesday is complaint day here on the Parenting Roundabout, and today we're talking about social distancing judginess. I was out at a pharmacy the other day, and there was really they had tried to do a good job of distancing in certain areas, but people weren't really being mindful of that. And once again out at Target yesterday, and I don't know if people aren't taking it seriously enough or if they're not paying attention, but I'm kind of really concerned that we're not doing enough to socially distance ourselves from one another. So I don't know what your experiences have been where you are, but what are you seeing?
My experience is that probably people have looked at us and said, you're not social distancing yourself enough. So we try. We've done a modest amount, but my husband still likes to go to the grocery store when possibly he doesn't really need to. And he brings my son, who does not necessarily understand the need for all of this or enjoy listening to his parents tell him not to do things. I mean, I don't think that we are doing anything endangering. And I don't doubt that there are people who are just out there doing stupid things and being completely non-respectful of it. We are trying our best. I feel about social distance judginess the same way I feel about parent judginess, which is that we could all extend each other a little more grace. And for the first few days of this social isolation time, everything on Facebook was nice and we're all in this together and it's going to be tough, but we're going to do it. And then inexorably it drifted back to, why are you whining about being socially isolated? Other generations were asked to fight a war and you just have to sit on your couch. And, why are you complaining about your children on Facebook? They're going to see that and then they're going to feel terrible. Or, this is your child's favorite thing to have you home. And why aren't you, excited about it? And it's just all of a sudden, it's like we just can't resist niggling at people. Mm-hmm. There was a photo in our newspaper of 3 groups of 4 people each enjoying a park. Mm-hmm. And the headline over it was, breaking the rules? People were enjoying the park the other day, but it looks like some of them weren't practicing social distancing. We wonder. And it's like, maybe they were family members. Maybe they were roommates. Maybe it was okay for them to all be together in a group. There were less than 10 in each group. Is this what we're doing now? Is we're looking for people to point a finger at? It makes me so sad that, even in this time where theoretically we're all pulling together, we're still all kind of pushing apart. Mm-hmm. And not just in a social distancing term, in a I'm social distancing better than you terms. I imagine that most people who have small children at home would not want people to see how they're doing this, because I'm sure we're all, cutting corners here and there and not doing things right. Yeah. And it's just, the shaming, it's so irresistible. So, I don't want, if somebody's at the Target sneezing on the carrots, then that's terrible. If somebody squeezes past me to get something and it does not involve 6 feet, I'm maybe going to give them a pass. I don't know. You know what I mean? There's just living and then there's deliberate malice. Mm-hmm. And I think we're spraying it all with the same hose.
Well, there's one sure effective way for people to stay away from you, and that's to wear a mask and put on some gloves. And people are not going to go near you. As my husband experienced yesterday.
But then it's then there's judgment about, why are you using a mask? Shouldn't that be saved for a healthcare worker?
Maybe you're sick and you really
might need it, and yet there's
Right.
judgment still.
There's judgment, and there's what are you doing with those gloves? How many things are you touching with those gloves? Where are you throwing those gloves away? I saw a glove on the ground in the parking lot, and it was disgusting. So it's like, there's really nothing you can do. People are just going to judge you. Just live your life. But I'm sort of amazed that the social distancing is kind of going as well as it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always going to be people who do it wrong, but so many people are giving it a try.
Mm-hmm.
I just wish there was more grace. But that's my ongoing refrain for everything. And now I'm judging the people who are judging, so I am no better.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I will admit that I freaked out when my sister-in-law called me a week or so ago, not taking this all as seriously as I was at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not without sin in this matter. But I do feel for parents. I cannot even imagine when my kids were little. There is no way I could have gotten them to understand what was going on.
Yeah.
There is no way I could have gotten. Even now, it's difficult.
And if you don't have a backyard, like,
Yes.
there's no way to even take them outside unless you can take them, because,
Right.
you know, if they're really little, it's just going to be, I don't know, unless you can stick them in a stroller and then,
Right.
and you can observe the social distance for them.
And it's, you know, my son was always sucking on his fingers, which I know would freak people out now.
Right.
But, you know, you can't explain to a little kid that they can't do that. You especially can't explain to a little kid with disabilities that they, you know, who can't necessarily understand even age appropriately. It's difficult. So kids just in general are not little hubs of hygiene. I can't. I mean, I just don't think you can take your kids out of the house, can you?
No.
With a protective tent over them. You know, my husband said that when he goes to the grocery store now, they have like a plastic shield around the cashier.
We have that too.
So I think we need to sell individual shields to like put around your family when you go out into the world. So that within your little shield, you can let your kid lick things. And it's not going to, possibly if it was a sunscreen so people couldn't really so much see what was going on.
Yeah.
This is what we need in these socially isolated times. We need little bubbles. Walk around in a little bubble.
Yeah.
Still wave.
Hopefully more and more people will realize that probably best to just stay at home as much as you can.
I guess, yeah. It is nice to get outside in the sunshine now and then, though.
It is.
And to it's like, you know, even though it's from across the street, it's human contact! Right. Hello, stranger! We're not the only people in the world, yes!
That is true. But it's just the blatant disregard for it that really is, you know, it's annoying. It's like, I'm doing my part. Come on, help us out.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen too many people blatantly disregarding it. But then again, I haven't left my house very much, so.
No.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to know motives and backstory, as with everything else. You know, we've talked about, like, if you see a kid having a tantrum in the store, not during these times, but other times, you know, there's a tendency certainly to judge, but you do not know what happened prior to that tantrum. So it's similar, I think, with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to balance their need for outdoor time.
Yeah, it's difficult. There's so much difficult about this, and even adults have a hard time with it. And you know, I don't know how little one is supposed to be going out. Really, you're allowed to go out for essentials and stuff, but
and also, like, I want to impress on my children that this is serious and to take it seriously. But I also don't want to freak them out even more than they already are, and I already am. Yeah. Like, my husband watches a lot of news, and I don't, because it's just not going to be helpful to me.
Yeah. Right at the beginning, I was on Facebook a lot, and I was on, you know, Twitter looking for news and looking for information. It was very distracting. And it just got to a point where it was like, you know, I would read one thing that we're not doing enough, and I was reading another thing that we were doing too much, and I was was reading another thing that said we are doing both too much and too little.
Oh, great.
Too much of the wrong thing and too little of the right thing. And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to turn this off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to live my life in my house, and surely somebody will tell me when it's all over. Yeah, it just gets overwhelming, and it's hard to know.
Well, we're just heeding the advice of our doctor friend who says we could never do enough. So
I'm perfectly happy staying at home and social distancing, because that's pretty much what I do all the time anyway. This is pretty much my life.
Right.
I am less social distanced now because people who usually go out and leave for work are still here.
Right, exactly.
My social distancing has been disrupted.
Yeah.
Yep.
But for people who are not accustomed to that, I can understand how it would be tough.
Well, and all the, you read that if it works, it will seem like we overreacted.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And, people are always gung-ho about things when they first start. And after a week or a couple days, they're like, okay, can we be done now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of impressed with us that we're doing as much as we are.
Yeah. Well, speaking of done, we are going to say that's it for today's round 3 and turn in tomorrow when we'll talk about creative ways to socialize so that you can obey the guidelines and still have a connection to the outside world. And then come back on Friday to see what we've come up with for our Roundup picks this week. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.